1994, a man disappeared, leaving behind an empty bank vault and $12 million. No blood, no footprints, no witnesses. Only the ticking of a wall clock in an empty office. 30 years later, investigators are still wondering how he managed to steal time. Gregory Hunt, 41, an accountant at First Union Trust Bank, lived a quiet and inconspicuous life. Every morning he arrived at work in a gray suit, drank cheap coffee, and greeted security. Colleagues called him Mr. Reliable, punctual, impeccable, and boring. He was the kind of person who was never late, never raised his voice, someone who seemed too normal to be dangerous. But behind this calm lurked a secret he'd been nursing for 12 years. In 1982, Gregory witnessed the bank where he worked collapse due to corruption. Thousands of clients lost money, and the management simply disappeared. He vowed never to let the system win again. For him, it wasn't theft. It was justice, a carefully calculated revenge. He began to prepare a plan. Years of studying security systems, accounting, and weaknesses. Every day he got closer to the moment when everything would come together. In 1993, Gregory was transferred to the central office. He became the one with access to all the transfers and safe deposit box keys. From that moment on, every action was recorded in his notebook. Not on paper, but in his head. He didn't write a single unnecessary word. He didn't leave a single digital mark. He was like a chess player playing in silence. November 3rd, 1994. It all seemed like a normal Friday. At 4:30 p.m., Gregory entered the vault under the pretext of checking the cash collection system. Half an hour later, he emerged, calm, confident, carrying a briefcase. The cameras showed nothing unusual. He just walked out, and no one saw him again. By the time the loss was discovered, it was too late. $12.4 million in cash was gone. No trace, no notes were found in Gregory's apartment. Passport, clothes, photos, all left behind. He vanished as if he'd never existed. The investigation established that a week earlier he'd withdrawn $600 from a savings account. Nothing else. 3 months later, police received a tip from Texas. Someone had seen a man resembling Hunt at a gas station. He introduced himself as Michael Doyle, drove an old pickup truck, and spoke with a slight northern accent. But by the time agents arrived, the trail had already gone cold. He wasn't moving fast. He was moving the right way. It later emerged that in the late 1990s, a man remarkably similar to Hunt lived in Colorado. He owned a small watch repair shop and wore an old 1964 Hamilton on his wrist. He called himself a teacher of time, and he was always on time, to the second. He didn't just steal money. He stole his destiny. In 2002, a woman at a local cafe recognized him from an old photograph. She reported the matter to the police, but when agents arrived, the store was closed. Inside, there were no tools or traces, only a single running wall chronometer. It showed 3:47 a.m., the exact time he entered the safe on the day of the theft. Several years later, a New Mexico reporter received a letter with no return address. Inside was a cassette tape and a note. "I didn't steal the money. I returned it to those who lost everything." The recording featured a voice resembling Hunt's. He described how he donated part of the money to anonymous charities, and the rest he donated to time. He didn't disappear for the sake of wealth. He disappeared for the sake of an idea. In 2018, a man resembling Hunt was spotted in Nevada. He was standing by the road, carrying a bag and an old pocket watch. When a police officer approached, the man smiled and said, "I'm just 30 years too late." He disappeared again before he could be questioned. The investigation remains open. Gregory Hunt is officially listed as missing. Neither his body, nor his money, nor any evidence have been found. But if you listen to the ticking of the old clock at the First Union Bank, it seems as if he's still there. Somewhere between the seconds. Sometimes people steal not money, but time. And while the world chases numbers, someone simply stops the clock to start all over again.